Hi, South Park Church. Welcome back to our interviews. We're going to welcome the Heaveys today, and we'll wait a couple minutes to get into the big part of our conversation to see who logs on. If you're joining us today, make sure to say hello in the comments. We'll say hello to you, ask questions or agreements. Like Laura, like LZ's here. My heroes. She's the
Columbo.
first. I think that we would all feel the same way about you too, LZ, though. So just make sure it goes away. So yeah, the Heavies are here with us on. And how long have you been to South Park? Looks like there's a little delay. Yeah. How long have you guys been to South Park?
Over 40 years.
Is that basically the church that's been your church throughout most of your marriage?
I started going after college, and then John came shortly after that. And we got married there.
Yeah, we got married there, and we became members just before we got married because it was free then. It's true. There were no fees if we became members, but we were invested anyway, and it's kind of a half of it's a joke.
It's good timing.
But,
yeah. Oh, that's great. So we really wanted to talk to you today because Eric has been sharing this quote often in our services, and it's that we dream of a time in the near future when every one of us is so excited about God's invitation that we cry out, "Send me." And that is just how you guys live your life. Like, you've always been people that have gone where you're sent. And so tell us a little bit. Community has been important to you, whether it be working in the town that you live in, your town community, or your church community, clearly since before you got married, and even just your small neighborhood of community. Tell us a little bit about your actions in your community.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Des Plaines, and at the age of 23, I joined the fire department, and then was there for 33 years, retired as the fire chief. And so just there were lots of connections citywide, but just kind of the city government and neighborhoods and things like that. But we moved here about 37 years ago. And when we moved here, there was already sort of a spirit in the neighborhood. Even the people we bought from were very instrumental in making some neighborhood improvements, and they were forward with people. They were extroverted with people and would take the first step toward people. So we walked into a situation, fortunately, that had a culture already of generosity, of time, kindness. So
the kids in the neighborhood called them Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah. Is that what they call you now?
No, actually, they call us by our first names.
Well, we have a little fountain on front of the house, and that's an attraction. And then the kids come from everywhere because there's water, and they throw stones and everything. So it's
They walk on our little wall.
Yeah.
But one thing that the waterfall is a memorial garden to a child that we had that wasn't full term. And so we have a sign that says Andrew's Garden, and it has part of Psalm 23 on it. And so right there, people come and they stop, they look, they read the sign, they really enjoy it. And I think that's been a real connecting thing to people in the neighborhood, especially kids.
Well, and that's a gift to the neighborhood, but then it's also a witness because you have the verse there, and they know that you're a safe person to ask about faith if they're ready. So I love that. Just a small little sign. We have some signs inside our house, and that's the thing. I think that it just opens the door easily when you have visitors coming by. So you walked into a neighborhood that kind of had this. And so how did you continue that and even expand it to include your faith?
Well, people would include us in activities. So someone would call us and say, there's a, I don't know, like we talked about, the lady down the street had her 40th birthday when we first moved in, and there was literally a parade down the street. The media was here, and that kind of grabbed our attention. And then, you know, someone would come over and bring you something to greet you as a new person. And then that just opens the doors for conversation. And then there would be a neighborhood, like a little gathering, and we would go, and then that would get larger and larger. But
I think when we saw there was a new neighbor, we would try to do something to make them feel welcome. And it's whatever we were good at, you know, like I used to make, I don't now, but I had a bread maker. I used to make homemade bread when my kids were little. So would, you know, I do that because that was easy for me. You know, so it was something that was already in our wheelhouse. It wasn't, we had to manufacture any big thing, you know.
And you have a name for your neighborhood. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's the abbreviation for the street. So it's WWOC, and we call it walk. So many years ago, we started a bunch of us walking together for exercise, and we walk and talk around the block. So we named ourselves, you know, the Walk Neighborhood. And that same lady that lived down the street made us a t-shirt that said we walk and talk around the block. And she's the one with her 40th birthday that was really the catalyst to start things. And about 10, almost 11 years ago now, she started a garden walk. So we'd meet and walk around the neighborhood and look at people's yards, whoever wanted to share them. And there was never any judgment, always praise for, oh, that's beautiful, and wow, you know, kind of really checking out God's creation in a really sweet way. And then we'd have brunch together. And that has been a staple in our neighborhood for, oh, this year will be the 11th year. However, virtually we do it.
Yeah,
I
it'll
think
be a
for
little
anybody,
different.
anybody too who's thinking of, you know, Eric's vision of send me, they've been sent, and they're already here in their neighborhoods. And there are two things that Joni and I talked about yesterday that already are at work. And one is that we were created to be relational. We were created to be in community, to be with each other. And so right off the bat, that's an advantage, just saying hello to somebody and trying to show some kindness. The other, of course, is the COVID.
Yeah.
So now there's subject matter. You know, in fact, just before the call, I was talking to my neighbor Pete, and he and I were going back and forth about government response and schools and the struggles he's having as a teacher and all kinds of different things. But the COVID itself opened up that conversation. So it's you're kind of leveraging which is already there. There's really no need. There's no really to-do list, steps to take, homework. This is just really sort of organic and kind of natural. And to say, you know, even our person who delivers our mail, you know, we open the door and say hello. We leave a box of cookies or something every so often. You know, just,
Yeah.
they love that stuff. Those little things that build trust, and then that can build to bigger things like Joni's Bible study. So
Yeah, it's the little things and they don't happen overnight. And
exactly.
what I'm hearing you say are invitations. Like God gives us these invitations to do these things, to leave a box of cookies or to say hello to somebody you might not have said hello to. And in the time we're in, people are way more receptive to that. Bernie and I will walk almost daily, unless it's raining like today. We'll walk a long time around the block, around the neighborhood, and say hello to everyone that we see. And we don't always do that, or we wouldn't always do that, but most of the time they smile and say hello back. And some have gone into conversations as well. So we do have a really unique time now to take advantage of building some relationships, especially if people aren't as extroverted as maybe you, or didn't walk into a neighborhood that already had that culture.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us though, because of those little steps, then you were able to start a Bible study. So it wasn't like the day after you moved in, it was several years down the line. But tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that actually came out of that garden walk. The lady who was doing it every year at her house moved last year. We never thought she'd move, but she did. So then it fell to, having it at our house, and which of course I love. And so I just felt like the Lord kind of pushing me for like 3 summers to have a summer Bible study. And I kept saying, but I don't know what to do. And, and at Thrive on Thursday night, I asked my group to pray about it with me, and they took me up on it. So then the Lord put his foot in my door, in my back, and gave me a shove.
Yeah.
And I had 2 neighbors that don't go to South Park, but are, lovers of God, walked down the driveway and said, here, let's do this. And it's Through the Spirit, little book we got at the dollar store. So no one has to put anything out. And so this is a very low maintenance group. Everybody brings their own water bottle when they meet together. Otherwise, they press on the click and Zoom.
Yeah.
But so it's people signed up to study joy, the first one. And it's been amazing because these women have really been sharing their hearts and their lives, and they come from all different perspectives of how they view God, and how they, some of them are just interested in religious study. Some of them are trying to figure out how to get back to knowing God better, and some people are just so in love with God, they just look for every opportunity they can. So it's been so cool and so rewarding just to watch that unfold, because the Holy Spirit, like, shows up every time.
And what I heard you say in that story, 2 things that stood out. One was that you were feeling the prompting, but finally 3 years later, you did it. So, I mean, it's important for people to know, like, if you feel that prompting, keep praying about it. Yeah, try to act on it, but none of us are perfect. Sometimes it takes a little extra. And then the second thing I heard was that you had other people partnering with you, that were supporting you. It wasn't like you, yelling out your front door, come to my Bible study. Like, you guys had other
Right.
people that felt the prompting as well. And so just being aware of that. And then, I mean, I guess the third thing that stands out is what God always does. The remarkable fruit that you see when you follow and you take his invitation.
Yeah.
You think like, why didn't I do this sooner? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Well, I think the timing was right. Unfortunately, I finally listened, but it's just so fun to watch things happen, and sharing about our community. There's one gal who saw a neighbor's wife go in by ambulance, and she went and knocked on his door, and he is not overly excited about being with people, but she asked, can we help you? Can I bring you dinner? And he said no. But then the next time she saw him, he waved at her. And that was a real encouragement that he's opening up and being willing to have some kind of connection.
Yeah.
So that was exciting to me.
His heart is opening just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And so what would you encourage people to do? What are some little things that people could do if they're, I'm not as bold as that, or I don't have so many relationships yet in my neighborhood. I know you guys have a Facebook group for your neighborhood. I know that some other people I've heard have like text threads with their neighbors. But what are some ideas that you would say to someone who's just wanting to get started to build
Well, during
community?
COVID, for example, we put Christmas lights out. And then
Oh,
Joni decorated the whole front window here. It's all decorated. And so every day people would walk by, and that was a way to comment. Oh, I see you have your Christmas lights up, and so I know, and then it opens conversation. So those are little things that don't take a lot of energy.
yeah.
You don't have to go to someone's door to do that. We will talk to neighbors from yard to yard or front porch to front porch. You have the social distancing, but just showing that you're kind of just recognizing and acknowledging that we're in this together, this COVID in particular. How are you doing? Is there anything we have that you need? How are you getting to the store? And just those, it shows that you care. It's more than just a passing hello. This is going a little deeper to show that we're all going through this, but maybe there's something we have or that you have that could help us, or back and forth. So, I I walk around the neighborhood and with a grabber and a shopping bag, and I just pick up litter. That's, it's total social distancing because I'm in the middle of the street, and but it is. I don't, even yesterday I was out last night picking stuff up, and someone, a man and a woman, were on the sidewalk, and they were like applauding. This is wonderful, and then we talked. Well, we're all in this sort of life together. We're living the neighborhood together. We want it clean. We want an environment that is honoring, and honor our creator by picking up trash. So that's another just little thing that takes very little energy, but that really resonates with people.
Mm-hmm.
I think people just have so much in common that we just don't get. I think we almost make an assumption that somebody's going to disagree with us politically, so that's the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
But so we try to just do it sort of relationally, kind of a heart to heart, even a practical question about, do you want to borrow? I have this. If I've noticed you're doing something, we have this. You're welcome to borrow it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I like the picking up the garbage because it's not an outward thing. It's not like you're looking for attention. You're looking for people. You're trying to witness to people. It's just a quiet testimony and that we care.
And, we can't underestimate the power of that. I mean, that's how Bernie and I came to Christ, by observing the behavior of some teen girls and wondering what's different about them, and their families. Why do they stand out as just different? And it caused us to ask the questions. And why is that man picking up garbage? Like, why is he sacrificing his time and making things nice around here? It opens up those conversations eventually.
And there are people too that we have a couple of folks in the neighborhood are environmentalists. Well, they'll plant a lot of different things that are good for. And so, we'll walk by. That opens conversation. We affirm that they're doing that, and it's a very simple gesture. But I go back to, I guess, as people, we are supposed to be in community, and I think God honors peacemaking. He honors unity. And so when those connections, whether to us or from us to somebody in the neighborhood, from in good faith, from heart to heart, he's going to multiply that. And so it takes. I don't want anyone watching to think that this is a burden that it's too much for them.
Mm-hmm.
You take the first step. You be the proactive one. You're already sent. Send yourself out to someone, and you'd be amazed at the results. And it may come quicker than you think, because many folks are stuck in their house for months. They live alone. They're struggling financially. They have a loved one that may have died alone. I mean, there are all these stresses. And to have even a stranger or even someone they may know fairly well say, "How are you doing today? How's today?" Well, the sun is out, or it's raining, or something or other. And it can make all the difference in the world to someone. So,
and I hear you saying, be present, and that's something, my family, we are very busy, and we have an alley and a garage in our alley. So most of our neighbors don't see us very often because we're always running here and there and everywhere. And what this COVID experience has helped us all do is stop and actually be present. And so I want to encourage people that might not have a big relationship with their neighbors yet. This is a perfect time. Don't feel like, oh, I've lived here 16 years. I can't do this. It's too late. No, we're all in a new situation and we're finally present together. So I think that don't let that stop you if you haven't done it yet.
Right this second, there's a woman walking, we know who she is. She's walking across, looking at the fountain and kind of stopping to observe. If we weren't on this call, we would be out on the porch and just saying, "Hey, how you doing?"
There have been people that live in this neighborhood almost as long as we have, and we didn't talk to them for years because they were behind their door and we just didn't connect. So now we're seeing people more and finding out that they're pretty friendly, So it's really fun. And I guess if we have to go through this COVID experience, there's a lot of good things that are coming of it. and being Jesus' hands and feet, or just Jesus' smile to people in the neighborhood is pretty great thing to do.
People are going to remember whoever it was that helped them or was kind to them, whoever it was in the neighborhood, let's just say, when this is finally over. The relationships are built now for then, because people will be back to normal life and a busy routine. But right now, relationships can be built, it can be lasting and lead to Bible studies or friendships. Two of the guys in the neighborhood have come to Ironman, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a foundational thing that you have in common between the two of you, you know. So I don't know. I guess you say we look for opportunities, but opportunities are there. We don't really have to. It's not work.
Right.
I love the send. I just do. I love the send me, because again, we look at it as we're already sent. We're here. Just go.
And, you know, it is an invitation. And who doesn't love to get an invitation to something, to a party, to a wedding, to anything, to an awards banquet, whatever. And that's what God's giving us each and every day, an invitation to one of those things in his world.
And when you listen and go, it's way better than you ever expected.
Yeah.
So the people in the neighborhood, as they influence each other toward understanding and peace and love for each other, loving your neighbor, then that carries itself into the home, which carries itself to the workplace, which multiplies. So.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, that your community then ripples. So now you have more things that your community does together, your neighborhood does together, but you don't do all those things, or you don't lead all of those things, but you've done something. So somebody else decides to do something, and then it just ripples. Then new people move in and get to be part of the culture and continue a legacy, which is also something that's really important for us to do.
Yeah. People don't like to leave this neighborhood.
Well, we have 2 homes for sale, so come on in.
Yeah.
Get on there, guys.
Yep.
We've had such a nice amount of people watching and commenting on this. So Joni and John are in this special little studio with me. I'm lucky enough to see the Facebook comments. Can you guys see the Facebook comments on your end? No.
Not
so
now, no.
We have quite a few nice ones. So you should go back and read through them. As much as like Laura or LZ likes your hair, John, and Jeff.
Does she cut hair?
Yeah, right.
So bad.
Jeff always watches these with us and says hello. And Eric's been watching, and Holly Creticos has been watching and saying hello, and Liz and Taryn and Michelle. So many people have just enjoyed just hearing from you. And of course, this will be on Facebook when we're finished, and we'll put it on YouTube so people can watch it after the fact and comment. But I would love people to put in the comments the small ways that they're finding an invitation of the ways that God is sending them. I'd love to see that and share that with one another.
If they want detail, feel free to call us. I mean, absolutely. Just we'll talk to anybody about
and go over and see your fountain.
Yeah.
I actually know some of your neighbors down the street, a friend of my daughter's and some of Bernie's students or past students, and you probably know who I'm thinking about. I don't want to say their names without their permission. No, but they mentioned how much they love you, and walking down and looking at the fountain and different things like that. And so yeah, and Eric, this is a perfect way to kind of wrap up this great interview, but that we are already sent. And you're ministering to our minister, John.
Oh, he's a terrific man.
Absolutely, I agree.
A servant at heart.
Yeah, and which I think is why this "send me" resonates so much, is because, you know, he does have that servant's heart and wants to serve and wants to be sent, and has been sent to us here at South Park. And so I'm so glad that we're able to join in that that vision.
That's a wonderful vision, and I ask everybody to jump in, wherever, workplace, home, wherever it may be. You'll be blessed, no question.
So share the way you guys are being sent in the comments. And I just want to thank Joni and John again for your time today. We'll probably come and interview you again. You have so much wisdom to share. We should just do a whole segment, the Heavey segment. How do the Heaveys do it? So
With God.
That's right. I love it.
All
I love
things are
that. So have a great day. Thank you for viewing us, this interview, guys. And make sure to share it with people that can use the encouragement. And have a great day.
Thank you for all
Thank
you
you,
do. The whole
Renee.
staff, Eric, and all of you. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.